Hello students. So we are going to discuss the revision class for the chapter number 5, that is human rights. So this is a revision class and I have solved all the question banks which I have asked from this chapter with possible solutions. So the name of the course is Professional Ethics and Indian Constitution, and this subject is there for the 4 semester Electronics and Communication and Electronic Instrumentation and Control Engineering, and the maximum marks allotted for this chapter is 20 marks and the maximum hours is 8 hours. So myself Vijay Huggi, so lecturer in Electronics and Communication Engineering Department, SJPN Trust Polytechnic, Nitsoshi. So basically the human rights are the rights which is believed to belong to every person. So they are nothing but human rights. So human rights are inherent to all human beings, wherever whatever our nationality, the place of residence or gender, national origin, color, religion, language, etc. So we all are equally entitled to our human rights without any discrimination. So let us start with the chapter. So first question, state the various provisions under human rights. So this is basically a 5 marks question and I have put 3 stars there. The number of stars indicate the number of times the question is repeated in the semester end exam. That means out of last 7 8 exam, so this question has appeared 3 times. Means it is important from the exam point of view. And here we are going to write the various provisions under human rights. So the first one is right to life, second right to liberty, third right to privacy, fourth right to poverty, fifth right of non discrimination, sixth no sexual harassment, seven right to debate, eighth one right to speech, ninth freedom from torture, then 10th one right of movement. So for 5 marks, even if you write the names, that is enough, more than enough. No need to explain what all these are. So next question, list the various special programs for women's development from the government. So the government have they have given so many special programs for the women development. So we'll discuss one by one. So first one is Stree Shakti. So that is to empower women economically and socially by organizing them in self help groups. That is one the scheme or the special programs from the government. Second one is Santwana. So the name of the program is Santwana. So that will give assistance to victims of domestic violence, sexual abuse and dowry harassment. So the especially the women who are the victims of such violences or acts, so right, they have a special program for Santwana. Then working women's hostel. So there is provision of safe and affordable accommodation to working women, especially when the women go to cities like district places or metropolitan cities like Bangalore. So we the government has provided working women's hostel, so they get the accommodation and food at a very cheap rate, right? Then fourth one is financial assistance to women law graduates. Fifth one, special cell for eradication of social evils. Sixth, implementation of Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005. So this we are going to learn, see in detail later. So domestic violence means any kind of violence which occurs within the family. So they are what Domestic Violence Act. So next seventh one is implementation of Karnataka Marriage Act 1976. Eighth one, scheme for prevention of alcoholism and drugs abuse. Ninth, state government working women's hostel. And tenth one is Karnataka Mahila Abhiruddhi Yojana. So these are what some of the special programs introduced by the government for women. So next we are going to explain the Dowry Prohibition Act 1961. So it is from the exam point of view, this question is very important. So three times it is asked in the exam. So as we all know, dowry means any property or any valuable security given or agreed to be given either directly or indirectly by one side to another, or by the parents of either side, or by anyone else to one another, or to any other person at or any time after the marriage or in connection with the marriage of a given party. So nowadays you might have seen, without dowry no marriages will happen. So before the marriage itself, there will be a agreement between the two parties that they are going to give this much of amount, they are going to give so much of gold property. So such agreement will be there, but actually that is what it is illegal. So the Dowry Prohibition Act 1961, it applies to the whole of India except Jammu and Kashmir. So this act prohibits the giving and taking of dowry. So the act is applicable to all the Indians without any consideration of caste, creed, or religion. So the act penalizes giving or taking dowry and the demand for dowry. Further, when a person is accused of taking or helping to take dowry, she or he is considered guilty unless she or he can prove to the court that she or he is innocent. So means if the third person, if he is involved in this type of cases like taking or giving a dowry, so right, if police or if any other person came to know, then he may be sent to the jail, and he is released from the jail only when he proved to the court that he is innocent, he is not involved in such activities. So even the penalty is also prescribed for not for or depriving anyone of the rights and privileges of marriages because of non-payment of dowry. So because of non-payment of dowry, sometimes the marriages will cancel. Right? If a person is involved in such activity, even there is a provision for a penalty. So next question is, explain Domestic Violence Act 2005. So again this is basically it is asked for 5 marks, and once it is asked in the semester and exam. So the Domestic Violence Act 2005 provides more effective protection to women who are victims of violence of any kind occurring within the family. So maybe on the matters connected with family life or incidents related to it. So that is what it is only concerned with within the family. So the protection of women from the Domestic Violence Act 2005 gives you the right to claim protection and assistance against domestic violence. So we can find the different types of violence within the family. So I have listed here three, that is physical violence, verbal and emotional violence, and economic violence. So under physical violence, there are so many examples like beating, slapping, hitting, kicking, punching, pushing, etc. So all these what they come under the physical violence. Second, verbal and emotional violence. So under this, I can quote some examples like insulting, then accusations on your characters, then insults for not having a male child, then insults for not bringing dowry, then forcing you to leave a job, etc. So all this comes under verbal and emotional violence. Then economic violence. Under economic violence, we can quote some examples like if you not provide you money for maintaining you or your child, so it is economic violence. Then not providing food, cloth, medicines, so that basic needs, if you don't provide basic things like food, cloth, and medicines, again it becomes a economic violence. Then forcing you out of the house you live in, again it becomes a economic violence. Then disturbing you in carrying on your employment. So if you work, if you are working somewhere, and if the third person, if he is disturbing for your work, so even it is called what, economic violence. So next we are going to discuss, explain the powers and functions of NHRC. So NHRC means National Human Rights Commission. So basically the question may be asked for 5 or 10 marks, and again from the exam point of view this is very important because the 3 times thrice it is asked in the semester and exam. So let us discuss what are the functions of NHRC. So the NHRC of India is an autonomous public body constituted on 12th October 1993. So basically it is autonomous public body. Autonomous in the sense it is what self-governing body and which is independent, and it has its own laws and regulations. So therefore it is what autonomous. So NHRC has the power of a civil code. So whatever the power is given to the civil code, the same power is given even for the National Human Rights Commission. So NHRC is responsible for the protection and promotion of human rights. The main purpose of introducing NHRC is for the protection and promotion of human rights. So according to NHRC Act, so the main provisions relating to it are as follows. Like first one is right relating to the life, second right relating to the privacy, third right relating to the liberty, fourth right relating to the equality, and fifth right to dignity of individuals. So this is general concept about NHRC. So now we are going to discuss the powers and functions of NHRC. So as it is a autonomous public body, it has a board of members or directors, and there will be a chairman who is the retired Chief Justice of India, and one member who has been a judge of the Supreme Court, and other members they are they may be the Chief Justice of a High Court, and there are some members who are having knowledge or practical experience in matters relating to the human rights. So they have a certain body like chairmen or members will be there. So now let us discuss the powers and functions of NHRC. The first function is the commission shall visit under intimation to the state government any jail or any other institution under the control of state government. Second, the commission shall review safeguards provided by or under the constitution for the protection of human rights. Third one, the commission shall review the factors including the acts of terrorism that in a exercise of one's human rights. Fourth, the commission study the other international instruments on human rights for their effective implementation. Fifth, the commission will undertake and promote research in the field of human rights. Sixth, the commission shall spread the human rights literacy among various sections of society and promotes awareness of safeguards. Seventh, the Commission encourage the non-government organizations and institutions working in the field of human rights. Eighth, the Commission may perform any other function as it may consider necessary for the promotion of human rights. So basically from all these powers and functions we came to know that, so basically this is going to involve in order to provide safeguards to the human rights, right? Even I have quoted some points here. So that is they can visit any jail from this within the state, so with the permission from the state. So even the person who is in the jail, so right, even they are the human beings, and we should not torture them or we should not hurt them, right? Even this NHRC is going to take care of all these things here. In the second point I have quoted, it will review the safeguards provided by or under the Constitution for the protection of human rights, and even it will look after the acts of terrorism. Okay, then even it is going to study the international instruments of human rights for the effective implementation. Suppose think the other country has implemented a thing for their citizen, right? If they feel that is a good one, so even they can bring it and they can implement here. Next question. So explain Sexual Harassment at Workplace Bill 2006. So again, this can be asked for 5 marks. Mm, so we can discuss the answer here. So the beauty of the woman is her most valuable jewel. Everyone has a word to praise for that, but taking a woman as granted and playing with her is legally wrong. So this act was passed mainly in order to provide protection to the working woman. Nowadays, you might have seen so many cases in the working place, or at a time when she is returning her home from the office. Right, we have seen so many cases like murder or rapes. So such things should not happen. So in order to avoid this, the government has they introduced this act, that is Sexual Harassment Act Workplace Bill 2006. That sexual harassment in workplace is a serious irritating factor that renders women's involvement in work unsafe and affects the right to work with dignity. Right, if a woman feels such things, if she is sexually harassed by someone either physically or mentally, so she cannot involve in her work, and in turn what it will affect on her work. So it affects the working conditions or create a hostile work environment. So basically, the hostile work environment means, so one's behavior within the workplace, it creates an environment, so that is what uncomfortable for another person to work due to discrimination. That is what hostile environment. So the National Commission for Human and Ministry of Human Resource Development have taken necessary steps to ensure that all educational institutions and organizations under the control of the government and even private institutions carry out necessary amendments to include sexual harassment at workplace as an offense, and the pressure is kept on the management of the establishment to provide for setting up of committee for redressal of sexual harassment complaint. So means there will be a internal complaints committee, maybe it is a private organization or a government organization. So there must be a internal complaints committee. So means whenever such incidents happens in the organizations, right, they have to resolve the conflicts, and they have to come out from that. Right, next we are going to discuss POXO Act 2012. Just now we have seen the Sexual Harassment Act. Now it is a POXO Act. So POXO is basically protection of children from Sexual Offences Act 2012. That is POXO. In short, it is POXO. In the exam, they can ask either Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act 2012, or they may directly ask explain POXO Act 2012. So basically, it is asked for 5 marks, and once it is repeated in the semester end exam. So the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act 2012 has been passed by the Lok Sabha on 22nd May 2012. So the Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act 2012 has been drafted to strengthen the legal provisions for the protection of children from sexual abuse and exploitation. Basically, this act was implemented in order to protect the children from the sexual assault or the exploitation here. The Protection of Children from Sexual Offences Act 2012 defines a child as any person below the age of 18 years and provides protection to all children under the age of 18 years from the offences of sexual assault, sexual harassment, and pornography. Pornography, in the sense, making videos of such incidents and spreading through social medias or through the mobiles. So that is pornography. So the act, these offences have been clearly defined for the first time in law. So the act provides for strict punishment, which ranges from simple to rigorous imprisonment of varying periods, there is also a provision for fine which is to be decided by the court. So the act provides cast duty on the state and central government to spread awareness through medias, including TV, radio or print media at regular intervals, to make the general public, children as well as their parents and their guardians aware of the provisions of this act. So basically, the act provides the establishment of special courts for trial of offences under the act, keeping the best interest of the child as a paramount importance at every stage of the judicial process. So the act incorporates child-friendly procedures for reporting, recording, and of evidence and investigation. So especially the investigation has to be made by the person. So they are going to follow certain things here. First one is they record the statement of the child at the residence of the child or at the place of her choice, preferably by a woman police officer. So during the investigation process, there will be a woman police officer. And second, no child to be detained in the police station in the night for any reason, right? Third one is police officer not be in uniform while recording the statement of the child, so he or she must be in a formal dress. Then the statement of the child to be recorded as spoken by the child. So as she is going to spoke regarding the things, right, we have to record the same thing. Then assistance of an translator or expert as per the need of the child. Then assistance of special education or any person familiar with the manner of communication of the child in case child is disabled. Then medical examination of the child to be conducted in the presence of the parent of the child or any other person in whom the child has trust or confidence. So and there won't be no aggressive questioning. So these are the procedure they are going to follow when they are going to investigate about the child. So next we are going to discuss state the features of employee rights or state the provisions under the professional rights. Both means the same, and the answer will remain same. This question may be asked for 5 marks and once it is repeated in the exam. So the employee rights are the moral and legal rights that are obtained by the status of being employee. So there are certain provisions under the employee rights. So first we are going to discuss one by one. So first one is right to form and express professional judgment. Second, right to refuse to participate in an unethical activities. Example, taking or giving bribe, altering the test results, then falsifying data, then forging documents. All these are what? Unethical activities. Third one is right to fair recognition and to receive remuneration for professional. So this right helps the engineer to motivate themselves to concentrate their energy on jobs and to update their knowledge and skills through continuous education. Then fourth one is right to warn the public about the dangers. So that should be done without damaging the reputation of the employer. Then fifth one is right to talk publicly about the job. So this should be done within the limits of decency, confidentiality and loyalty. Then sixth one is right to engage in the activities of professional societies. So next we are going to discuss what are the intellectual property rights. The question is describe intellectual property rights. This might be asked for 5 marks, and so once it is asked in the exam. So intellectual property rights, in short they are called IPR. They are the rights given to persons over the creation of their minds. So artistic works like music and literature, as well as discoveries, inventions, words, phrases, symbols and designs can be protected as intellectual property. So IP permits people to have fully independent ownership for their innovations and creativity like that of an physical property. So if you have invented something new, so maybe in the artistic work or literature or any technical invention or any words or phrases or symbols designs, you can have a right on this, just like your property right. So that is what basically intellectual property rights. So this intellectual property right encourages the IP owners towards innovation and benefit to the society. So it is an asset which can be bought or sold, licensed or exchanged. So first one is it creates and supports high paying jobs. Second, intellectual property drives economic growth and competitiveness. Third one, strong and enforced intellectual property rights protect consumers and families. Fourth, IP helps generate breakthrough solutions to global challenges. And next, we are going to discuss the different types of intellectual property rights. There are different types like patents, copyright, trademark, trade secret, industrial design rights. So, but your syllabus they have mentioned only four, that is patent, copyright, trademark, and trade secret. So, we are going to discuss one by one what all these are. So first one is explain briefly about the patents. So this might be asked for 5 marks, and once it is asked in the semester end exam. So patent is basically a legal document granted by the government giving an inventor the exclusive right to make, use and sell an invention for a specific number of years. So the validity is 20 years from the date filling the application for the patent. So but it needs a registration. So after the expiry of the duration of the patent, anybody can make use of the invention. So the owner of the patent can sell this property. He can also grant license to others to exploit the invention. So all the above provisions have been made according to the Patent Act 2002. So basically patent is given to the product or process provided it is entirely new and which involves inventive method and which is suitable for industrial application. Suppose if you have invented like this something new and creative one, you can have a patent. So for that you need a registration with the government and the validity is 20 years from the date filling the application form. So while applying for a patent, it is essential to submit the documents in detail regarding the problems addressed, its solution, extent of novelty or innovation, typical applications, particulars of the inventor and the resources utilized. So you have to submit all these documents, right? What the problems you have faced, its solutions, and what is the extent of innovation, how you can extend it, and what are the typical applications where we can apply this, and what are the particulars of the inventor, then name of the person, where he is going to live, right? Particulars of the inventor and what are the resources you are utilized, even that you have to mention in the document. So right, next we are going to discuss about the copyright. So this is very important from the exam point of view because it is asked in the semester end exam, so it may carry 5 marks. So copyright is one of the form of intellectual property rights, offers exclusive rights for protecting the authorship of original and creative works like dramatic, musical and literary natures. So it includes or it protects literary, that is written material, then dramatic, musical and artistic work, then films and audio visual materials, then fourth one is sound recording, computer programs or software. So as you might have seen, if you are written if the author has written a book and if he published into the market, right, you can have the copyright. So inside the book in the first or second page you can find a symbol, see this within the circle. No, that is the symbol of copyright, that indicates what, it is his property, right? No one can utilize the textbook or any literature work without the permission of the concerned author. So that is what the copyright here. So the objective of copyright law is to encourage authors, composers and artists to create original works by rewarding them with exclusive right for a limited period to reproduce the work for the benefit of the public. So on the expiry of the term copyright, the work belongs to the public domain and anyone may reproduce them without the permission. And that is the difference between copyright and patent. Next, describe briefly trademark. So again, this is very important from the exam point of view. This is asked 3 times in the exam. So trademark is a wide identity of specific goods and services, permitting differences to be made among different trades. So trademark is basically given in order to identify the goods, different goods. For example, if you go to market or if you go to a shop to buy a soap, right, in order to differentiate the different soaps, they provide a name like Santur and Lux. They have a shape, they have different smell, they have different packing, they have different color, right? All these are what trademark, right? In order to differentiate the different goods, there is a what a trademark. So it is a territorial right which needs registration. So it is valid for 10 years and we can renew it after the 10 years. The trademark or service mark can be registered in the form of a label, a letter, a device, a word or words, a heading, a number, or any combination of these designs, logos, symbols, and sounds. So the functions of trademark. So first one is the goods are identified by their trademark. Example, Santur is a trademark of Santur soap. Then trademark carries an identification indication of quality of goods and customer satisfaction. Third, trademark acts as a silent promoters of sales. Fourth, it serves as a medium for advertising the goods. Next question is describe briefly trade secret, or they can ask differentiate between patent and trade secret, or they can ask difference between patent and copyright, or write the difference between patent and trademark. They can ask in any manner. So the marks may carry 5 marks or 10 marks, that depends on the question. So the trade secret is the information which is kept confidential as secret. So it is basically do it yourself from a form of protection. So you don't register with the government to secure your trade secret. You simply keep the information confidential. For example, I given here the example of KFC's chicken recipes. They are so famous because the secret of making the preparation is maintained confidential till today. And if they won't maintain confidential, then it won't become a trade secret. Until they keep it as a secret, it becomes a trade secret. So the trade secret protection end or last for as long as the secret is kept confidential. So once a trade secret is made available to the public, so the trade secret protection ends. So next question is list the features of international human rights. So again, this can be asked for 5 marks. Then for the different international human rights are, the features are prevention and punishment of crime, then elimination of all forms of racial discrimination, elimination of all forms of racial discrimination against women, then elimination of human torture, then provisions of rights of a child, then it works for peace, then it strengthens the democracy, it promotes the sustainable development, then removes the combating of corruption, then it takes the children against sexual exploitation and sexual abuse. So these are what some of the features of international human rights. Next question is list the principles of conflict resolution, maybe asked for 5 or 10 marks. So first principle of conflict resolution is think before reacting. That is very important because in order to resolve any conflict successfully, it is important to think before we react. If you want to speak something, so before saying something you have to think it first. So that is the principle. Second, listen actively. Listening is most important part of communication. If you do not hear what the other parties are communicating, we cannot resolve conflict. Even that is important principle. means if someone is saying something, it is your duty to listen it properly, then you can reply. So third, assure a fair process. So it is important to choose a fair process to all parties of the conflict. Even the perception of unfairness can describe the resolution. Fourth, attack the problem. So conflict is very emotional. When emotions are high, it is much easier to begin attacking the person on the other side than it is to solve the problem. Fifth one, accept responsibility. In order to resolve conflict, we must accept our share of responsibility and eliminate the concept of blame. Sixth, use direct communication, that is, say what we mean and mean what we say. And last one is look for interest. So second, next question is explain the concept of women empowerment. So again, this can be asked for 5 marks or 10 marks, and again depending on the marks you have to write the answer here. I have given few points here, but you can maximize, or you can write on your own words here. Women empowerment refers to the creation of an environment for women where we can make decisions of their own for their personal benefits as well as for the society. So, women empowerment refers to increasing and improving the social, economic, political, and legal strength of women to ensure equal rights to women and to make them confident enough to claim their rights, such as freely live their life with respect and dignity. Second, have complete control of their life both within and outside of their home and workplace. Third one, to make their own choices and decisions. Fourth, have equal rights to participate in social, religious, and public activities. Fifth one, get equal opportunity for education. Sixth, get equal employment opportunity without any gender bias. Then get safe and comfortable working environment. So next question, what we are going to discuss is explain women and development. So women in India have made their mark in multiple fields, like we know in the field of literature or in the field of science, art, right? We find women in all the places. There is hardly any industry or sector where you wouldn't find a woman, and the women men ratios, even they are what improving in all the sectors in India. Several Indian women, like their counterparts in other countries, have made their mark in international business and policies too. So the success of women is no longer limited to our country. If you look at the women men ratio industry wise, banking, insurance sectors, usually they have a pretty high ratio. So in IT services too, there has been a rapid increase in the number of women over the last few years. So we believe that diverse talent forms the core of our success. Industries are committed to hiring women who bring a diverse perspective and play a crucial role in delivering to organization needs. The IT industries is committed to the ongoing development of the women IT professionals and to increase the number of women in industry. So we dream of a better India for an even brighter tomorrow, a country which is free from a petty fight over caste, creed, gender, and religion, treats all its citizens with same dignity and offers them equal opportunities at education and work, a country rid of poverty and illiteracy. So, and even we have seen that there are so many programs for women development from the state government or central government. So, like Stree Shakti, Santvana, then Working Women's Hostel, then financial assistance to women law graduates, then special cell for eradication of social evils, then implementation of Protection of Women from Domestic Violence Act 2005, then implementation of Karnataka Marriage Act 1976, then scheme for prevention of alcoholism and drug abuse, then state government working women's hostel, then Karnataka Mahila Abhiruddhi Yojane. So all these are what different programs from the government in order to empower women. Thank you.